Hello everyone and welcome back. This is game 2 of the series between AmaTerasU and Sherman Tanks in the losers bracket round 3. This time AmaTerasU in blue as the Hojo chose the map. It's Sakura Ridge, so we could see another big rush game in this one. The last one being so exciting, we're sure to be in for a treat. Army's very different this time. Once again, no missile units for either side. Sherman Tanks in red here has brought almost entirely infantry with just 2 Great Guard, while AmaTerasU has taken a nice little cavalry component along with a solid infantry corps, but that is a lot of infantry for Sherman Tanks. Excuse me, it looks like he had 3 cavalry units. Yeah, he had a Yari cavalry as well. Where are those bombs coming from? Oh, they must be hidden still. Interesting. A Great Guard charge, or a wedge formation charge for the Great Guards. Actually, hey look folks, I criticized the wedge formation. That was one time where the wedge formation was actually good and pierced through all those ranks of infantry, and now they're going to get a nice infantry engagement off and just be able to slaughter units in there in the melee battle. Great Guard and Katana Cavalry are the 2 units you really want to be able to use that. And putting all of his cavalry, or at least most of it, on this one side to try and take out this big chunk right away. Bombs are going off for the ninjas, and another big downhill charge into the Katana Samurai. But we'll see if that's going to be enough. Yari Ashigaru looks like they're going to be able to take out that Kisho ninja no problem. And interesting how the battle's sort of playing out here. Both sides are now on the high ground. Nobody's taking the buildings on the flanks. Might be a good idea to have, especially the shrine in this one could be absolutely huge. But we'll have to see Yari Ashigaru in Spear Wall going up against other Ashigaru. We'll be able to probably hold out there. And it looks like this chunk here from Sherman Tanks is going to be able to hold. And maybe just come and be able to sweep up in here, because AmaTerasu's a little disorganized right now. He needs to get off a downhill charge or something, but this Warrior Nun again going to be a hero and hold off this entire chunk by themselves and give the rest of Sherman Tank's army enough time to make it to the top of the hill, preventing that downhill charge. Another heroic action by the Warrior Nuns. Why don't we see more of these gals? Great Guard just sitting stationary, waiting for a good time to attack. Kishin actually ended up beating Yari Ashigaru over there, and this time the general is much closer to the front line, well placed by Sherman Tanks there. AmaTerasU is still mounted and trying to get a good engagement off, and this little chunk is very resilient. It must be the influence of the Warrior Nuns. Katana Samurai coming out of hiding there in the trees too, and we're seeing wavering on AmaTerasu's line. It looks like Sherman Tanks will be able to clean up this side and will be able to collapse in from behind on the other tank AmaTerasU. So Sherman Tanks positions himself pretty well here to take the victory. It was a very bold move by AmaTerasU trying to take out that big chunk all at once, but it looks like he bit off more than he can chew over there. Because yeah, and the Great Guard is now positioned behind them. Only 12 men in the unit, but hey, a charge is a charge, no matter how many men you have, and the morale shot could be enough. And all these units here need to collapse in right now on the bigger chunk. And just forget this side. It looks like that's what they're going to do. Moving over, getting around on this side to get perfect position, because this side is holding out quite well with the monks in support, and actually routing some of AmaTerasu's forces. It must be the stand and fight influence there. General looks like he's just now getting his stand and fight for AmaTerasU, so that delayed stand and fight is going to end up being huge for Sherman Tanks. And the Great Guard with 12 men are going to charge into the general with 14. Can he kill the general here? That would pretty much seal the deal, as this chunk is about to collapse, and Sherman Tanks taking his time, being nice and patient, and getting into perfect position for this charge. Needs to split that out and hit all points on AmaTerasu's line and finish this battle off. And very well played in both these games by Sherman Tanks. I mean, he just had a lot of good control here, and maybe we're thinking he was a terribly strong player in the earlier rounds, but he did quite well in this match, so he will be a force to be reckoned with later in the losers bracket, assuming he can clean this up right now. We'll see where our favorite Warrior Nuns are. Maybe they're off the field. Certainly fought to the death, of course. I would expect no less. What a heroic unit. Just really saved that chunk over there. If they got that downhill charge off, who knows how this side would have ended up. But we know how the battle's going to end up, because there's 1 unit left for AmaTerasU, and there they go. Sherman Tanks gets a quick victory on Sakura Ridge, takes the series 2-0. See you back on the main menu. You know, I have to say, the Mori has done quite well in recent matches. Might be interesting if we see in the second half of the tournament, it turns out to be the Mori that start dominating. Could scratch up another victory for the Mori, because Sherman Tanks takes the series 2-0 and moves on to the losers bracket. I wonder if anybody's keeping track of the total number of matches won by each clan. It'd be interesting to see at the end what the numbers are and see which clan wins this grudge match. But we know who won today, and that was Sherman Tanks and the Mori. They're carrying the day, and Sherman Tanks is moving on to the losers bracket. That means AmaTerasU is out. What a good job he did here in the tournament. At least got 1 victory, at least, to be made it this far, so it's a little bittersweet, but Sherman Tanks is moving on. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in the next match.